Hey guys, Furum here, and today I am going to be testing the Porsche 959 in multiplayer. Now, this car, when it came out, was extremely good, and it still is very good as well. I made 2 videos about it a while back, but I upgraded a little bit, so I decided to test it again. My rank is 1069, and I have a tuning of 0505, and in Pro Kits I have 3505. I'm going to plan on proing tires completely, but I don't have enough engines, so this is my rank for now. So this first race is on London against a Range Rover, another 959, and an SLK Special Edition, so let's see how it does against that. So the car directly behind me is the other 959, and the car directly behind him is the SLK Special Edition, which actually started up quite fast for that car, so I'm kind of surprised about that. So because the SLK is quite a bit faster than me at this rank, I just went over to the side and let him pass. That's usually a good thing to do if there's a fast car coming up to you. Just let him pass, don't try to knock down him, it usually does not work out well. And here this SLK wrecked. I'm not exactly sure what he did, but it certainly gave me a chance. Do you think I'd be able to hold him off for the rest of the lap? Well, we will see. So he is that car, the third car way back there. The car directly behind me is the other 959. So the 959 can reach 220 miles per hour at this rank of 1069, which I believe no other car can do at this rank besides the SLK. And speaking of the SLK, you will start to see him on the map very soon because of his great speed. You can see him start to come onto the map right now. So the finish line isn't that far away, it's just around the corner over here. So I was thinking, well, he's not going to catch up to me in this small period of time, of course I'm going to win. But never underestimate the speed of the SLK, because he was catching up way faster than I expected, and even though I did manage to beat him, he was catching up very quickly. So, SLKs are not unbeatable. They're just 99% unbeatable. So if you're in the 959, always pick one lap on the shortest track you can and hope that the SLK makes a mistake, because then you have a decent chance of beating them, as we just saw. So in this race, we are up against the same 959 that we faced in the previous race, as well as 2 BMW M2s that are over 50 rank higher than me. So this should be interesting. The 959 has one of the best nitro efficiencies in the game, which really helps it on tracks like Azure Coast. Because while most of the track has quite a bit of nitro, this section right here, I'm pretty sure most of you guys know about this, has no nitro for a really long time. Oh, one little downside to the 959 is that its maneuverability in its handling, turning from side to side without drifting, is kind of lacking, so you may find yourself drifting a little bit more than you might in some other cars. But because of the good nitro efficiency, we managed to get through this section without even nearly running out of nitro, and still a good bit to go in these S-curves, where a lot of faster cars even might not be able to stay without running out of nitro. One thing you have to be careful of is not to drift too much though in this car, because it is very nitro reliant, and because of that you slow down greatly when you take turns, so that is why it's best to drift punch as much as you can. Now, tires on this car are actually a little bit more speed efficient than exhaust. Not by much, but even if it weren't so, tires might still be better anyway, because they make it so the car does not lose as much speed while drifting, because they increase the top speed rather than the nitro. So a tune of 0505-5502 is 3 rank lower than the typical 0505-0505 tune, but it has the exact same speed and higher raw top speed, so that is certainly a slightly better tune in my opinion. Mr. Mysterious Spyman was the one that discovered this about this car, and he's discovered plenty of other previously undiscovered multiplayer tunes for other cars as well. So we beat an 1129 BMW M2, a 1057 triple boosted 959, and an 1134 M2. The low 1100 M2s will find themselves getting beat by 959s in the upper 1000s a lot of the time. So if you have an M2, it's best to tune it above rank 1150 or to 1256, as I have found to be the best tune for the M2. I will put a link to my video about that in the description. So in this race, the car right behind me is a BMW M2. He's at rank 1140, which is 71 higher than me, and he is a little bit faster than me as well. The 959 can reach its maximum speed of 226 miles per hour around a rank of 1157, which is still decent, and will most likely beat M2's ranked about the same as itself. But the problem with that is it will commonly get ranked with a high 1100 and low 1200 M2s and Cobras, which it cannot compete against and are 15 to 20 miles per hour faster than itself. So for best results, if you have a 959, keep it between ranks 1000 and 1100. So this M2 back there, because of his slightly superior speed, has now managed to catch up to me and now passes me. So if you have a 959 at this rank, that is really the one thing besides SLKs that you need to worry about. Those M2s that are 50 to 100 higher ranked than you, that will be just slightly faster. See here, he's not crazy fast, but he is just slightly faster, and that's enough to give him the win. That's why it's important to risk points in a car like this, because that will basically get rid of those cars 50 to 100 above you and give you ones 50 to 100 below you instead. Even though we lost to that 1140 M2, we did beat a higher 1118 959. Now this was a very interesting race against the same M2 that we faced in the previous race, as well as an orange 959 that I saw in 3 consecutive races, including this one, and he was a really good driver, so these were some very fun races that I played with him. He is the one directly behind me, but the BMW M2 is the one catching up from behind him. One of the 959's really good traits is its amazing acceleration. While not being like a Donkervoort, it is certainly better than, I believe, every other car at this rank. So that other 959, the one directly behind me, is at a rank of 1100, so 31 above me. So he is slightly faster than me, and so he is catching up to me fairly quickly. The M2, which was the 1141 that we faced last time, is the one directly behind him. So this 959 passed me, and then I was able to pass him again because he drifted too much around there, and I just drift punch. You can see how big of a difference that makes in cars that do not have very good raw top speed, but rely on nitro. So those two cars are extremely close behind me, so I decided to flat spin here to refill my nitro so as not to run out. That other 959 didn't, and so he pushed me, but then I managed to knock him down. But then the M2 passed me. As with all the other Porsches, I cannot make this car purple. Just thought I'd point that out. So this is a 2-lap race, and so I figured the M2 would just get slightly further ahead of me all the time, and the 959 behind me would catch up a slight bit, which ended up being pretty much what happened throughout the majority of the second lap. So the championship for this car restarted a little while ago, and so a lot more people who didn't get it the first time managed to get it at that time. It was one of the first Blueprint car reboots to come back, and so we have hope for other Blueprint car reboots of their special events as well. Some that I really would like to come back are the Subaru Sparta Enduro Double Down, which unfortunately I did not manage to get. I sold blueprints for it, and I realized that I would have the car now if I hadn't sold the blueprints that I've gotten. So there's still hope though if the reboot comes back for its Enduro Double Down. And I'd like the Corvette Grand Sport one to come back as well. So up here, this M2 got hung up on something over to the left. I'm not exactly sure what happened to him, but it allowed me to pass him. But that other 959 is now gaining on me ever so slightly, but he's certainly still gaining. And because of what happened on the first lap, even though he's not right up next to me to make the same thing happen again on this ramp as before, I decided not to flat spin in case something else bad would happen. And that might have been a good idea since he was getting very close to me at this point. And if I would have flat spun, I do not know what would have happened. Thankfully, this was not a 3-lap race, and the finish line is coming up very shortly. So this 959 I'm beating comes in the next 2 races as well. And in the next race, he tries especially hard to beat me. One reason being, he is 1997 rank. If he beats me, he will certainly make it into Champion League. But what will happen? Let's see. So that orange one is him. I'm in the red one because red is my second favorite color next to purple, and blue is my next favorite color to red. Blue and red make purple, so it makes sense those would be my second and third favorite colors. So one mistake I made in this race, I triple tapped at the beginning instead of doing perfect nitro, which made me run out of nitro very early in this race. And this 959 up here obviously knew the tactic of stealing the nitro because he took pretty much every single one here. He also knows the way to go to the left here instead of going to the right, and he picks up all 3 nitro bottles, which ended up completely starving me. He was trying all the tricks he could think of to get me off his tail, but thankfully I had just enough nitro during most of this section to stay with him pretty well, but he's still pulling away because his car is faster. So at this point, I was pretty desperate for more nitro, so I decided to go for this yellow nitro bottle, but then I wrecked, which completely destroyed my chances of beating him, and then GameLoft decided to put me on the long way. Now, the third car in this race is a Range Rover. He is the little green dot you see going backwards on the track to the left there. Yeah, remember him. So in the second lap, I managed to take this turn much better than I did before, even though I missed the nitro, and this black Range Rover came toward me, and he did not knock down me, but I knocked down him instead, which was kind of interesting, and I'm not exactly sure why it happened. So this other 959, who was at 1997 rating last race, beat me and went up 7 points into champion. So I feel good about helping him do that. Now this next race was also on Dubai, and guess what? The orange 959 is in this race again. It is generally good practice if you're ticket racing and you see someone who's free racing and he has a much higher rating than you, to just stay in the room with them, especially if you have a car that can compete with them, because what will happen is if you lose to him, you're not going to go down much because he has a much higher rating than you, and if you beat him, you're going to go up a lot. So I think that's what this 959 did. But he wrecked going around that corner, as well as did 1 or 2 other people. Yeah, that corner can be a real killer if you don't know how to take it properly, and different cars take it different ways, and you just have to learn it. So now I'll give my overall opinion on this car. It is pretty much the king of these ranks, except for when the occasional SLK shows up, which you can actually still beat, as you saw earlier in this video. Occasionally, though. It is faster than everything else at this rank. It accelerates extremely quickly. Its nitro efficiency is amazing. Its drifting is great. You just gotta watch out for its slightly under average handling and its nitro reliancy. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video if you enjoyed it and found the tips in it to be helpful, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt 8 videos, and I will see you later. Goodbye.